So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Founders Scholar Award. The Peter S. Friedman Founders Scholar Award is named for Peter Friedman, who's been referenced already today as such a special person. He is considered by many to be the inspiration behind the founding of Derryfield School. He was the first chair of the Board of Trustees, the husband of wonderful Ellie Friedman, who's here with us today. He was a Manchester businessman who had an inquiring and an adventurous nature and was a strongly ethical and caring person. And he lived what he believed. He was a soldier in the Pacific Theater in World War II and a peace activist for the entire rest of his life. Peter marched in the 1963 March on Washington with Dr. Martin Luther King and was a founder of the Manchester, New Hampshire NAACP chapter. He had a laid-back personality that belied his passion for fairness and his love of the study of science, of music, and of art. The Peter S. Friedman Award is given to a junior who exhibits high scholarship, character, and contribution to the Derryfield community. Last year, it was given to Francesca Barradale, Franky, who will be delivering the address today. Last year, Franky also won the Barbara Stahl Memorial Scholarship, which is given to that 11th grader who has the strongest academic record, and also the Rensselaer Medal, given to the 11th grader with the most outstanding record in math and science. She's a leader on the literary magazine Excerpt and the online English journal Pinnacle, and a Poetry Out Loud school champion. Franky loves both the STEM subjects and the humanities, and it is with delight that I invite Franky to the podium.
Good morning, Dr. Carter, founders, Mr. Pfeiffer, Mr. Hurlbut, Ms. Stearns, and Mr. Sellers, Staff Sergeant Shattuck, faculty, parents, students, and friends. To our founders especially, thank you for making this day possible. Your unwavering support of this school has given all of us students the opportunity to pursue our education with teachers who are just as passionate about their respective fields as they are about us. I'm confident that I speak for everyone here when I say that we are, and always will be, indebted to you. Excuse me while I organize the papers. Storytelling is a staple of humanity's existence. We tell legends, myths, and scriptures. We also tell stories through film, literature, or casual conversation. Yet, sometimes we forget that every day we are building our own stories, and that all of our actions are shaping our futures. My own story is a mix of continuity and change. As a child, I would cry at just about anything. Meeting new people, falling and hurting myself on the playground, visiting the doctor, anything that might leave me feeling overwhelmed. I was extremely sensitive, but I was also a dreamer, reckless to the point of stupidity, jumping off a swing set when I was 2, trying to soar with the birds. This dichotomy within me is confusing to others, but my fearless side always allows me to keep my anxiety in check. My ability to keep myself in balance has been tested most during my 6 years at Derryfield. During those first few weeks, my anxiety reigned supreme. I entered in 7th grade and quickly saw that my peers were already divided into groups, and I worked to figure out where I fit into the puzzle. But one cool September morning, I was on the bus, staring out of the window, when someone asked if she could sit next to me. I said sure. Her name? Alex. While I sat quietly, she told me about an idea she had, to have a silent dance party in which everyone would wear earbuds connected to branching headphone splitters, all rooted in a single iPod. At that moment, I knew that I had found someone just as passionately imaginative as I was. As 7th grade progressed, I grew more comfortable at Derryfield, letting my boldness shine through. But the following year, my anxiety took over again, once my problems became greater than those of the average middle schooler. In the fall, my mother fell ill. This woman who had guided me for years, who was the driving force behind my passion for academics and hard work, the one who always tried to teach me to be strong, was at the weakest point in her life. I didn't know what to do. I lived every day afraid that she would die. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. And I felt so alone because the one person who knew how to comfort me was slipping away. But all she asked was that I continue to focus on my schoolwork. I understood that the best way to give her comfort was by immersing myself in my academics. I was unsure of her fate, but my mother is strong. I am fortunate to have her here, to know that she won that battle, even if some wounds remain which cannot be healed. After so much of my life nearly fell through the cracks, I felt lost as I entered the upper school, not really sure of who I was or where I was going. However, during my freshman and sophomore years, and the summer in between, I began accepting myself, my awkward personality traits, my interests, and certain preferences of mine. I grew more confident. I started wearing men's clothing. I cut off my hair. In fact, I was so focused on my outward transformation that it became the only part of me that people saw. By my junior year, people assumed that I was just a weird, cross-dressing nerd. I felt isolated. As I tried to reach out to people and show them that I was more than just a good student, their words tore me down, and I became paranoid, not knowing who to trust. The strain of my course load only made me feel worse. I started to listen to others' warnings. You shouldn't be working so hard. You aren't doing enough. You're not well-rounded enough. I believed them, and because of that, I was convinced that I wouldn't have an impact on the world, and that it didn't matter if I finished this chapter of my life. Thankfully, my mother helped me regain my confidence, and she pushed me to keep working, even when I doubted its value. If not for her, I might not be standing on this stage today. Perhaps the greatest lesson that I have learned from my 6 years at Derryfield is that only by trusting in my own strength can I overcome obstacles. I have also come to realize that, for me, true happiness comes from personal growth and pride in my accomplishments. And so, I encourage all of you to ask yourselves, is that face in the mirror the person you want to see? Remember, no one is perfect. We are all human beings with insecurities and imperfections. It may have taken me years to accept that fact, but once I did, I felt much more content. But if you don't love that face in the mirror, I hope you find the courage to create the change that will give you happiness. For we are always changing, learning, and growing, but we don't always end up being the people we thought we would be. Finally, I want to leave all of you with a question to consider. What is your story? Thank you. And now for the main event. Every year, the Peter S. Friedman Founders Scholar Award is presented to that member of the junior class who has best combined academic achievement with personal responsibility, independence, and ethical sense. As Ms. Schutz said, this year's recipient is the type of student who does homework on a Friday night. In English, she is not only a sophisticated writer, but she also integrates her thinking across course boundaries, synthesizing what she's learning into her own unique ideas. Her chemistry teacher described this student as meticulous. She rarely makes the same mistake twice, and when an assignment is handed back, she looks at her errors and fixes them. But this student is just as much of a hard worker as she is talented. Mr. Holland noted that this year's recipient is very intuitive. He only has to give her an idea of where a concept is leading for her to figure out the rest by herself. At the same time, she is not the type to dominate the classroom. Her teachers all agree that this student draws out and encourages her classmates, especially those who would be hesitant to speak. This warmth and ability to inspire others translates to this student's performance in athletics. Mr. Lemire said that on the basketball team, she is a mentor for younger players and inspires others with their constant efforts to improve, which is why she was selected unanimously as one of next year's captains. Mr. McCaig noted that this student would be great on any team because she is willing to fill whatever role the coach would like her to. He even said that this student epitomizes what a Derryfield scholar athlete should look like. Her compassion, independence, motivation, and drive to push herself to new limits are what set this student apart from her peers. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2015 Peter S. Friedman Founders Scholar, Liz Krogman.